Banter fam, happy Friday to you all. Guys, market is looking phenomenal, looking great. We are seeing another big explosion. I want to show you guys altcoins overall for the week. Well done, right? It is nice to see some bullish momentum coming back, and we can see some real moves starting over here. Now, I do want to prepare you guys for the first trap. There's going to be 3 traps in the cycle, right? Well, this is what has been many cycles before. As you start to get one team that is dominating the market, you are going to have these traps that come, and they come and basically catch late buyers, right? Very similar to when markets were going down. Everyone got caught off guard when it turned. It's the same thing here. Everyone's going to kind of get incredibly greedy, happy, excited. They're going to kind of not look at their backs anymore, and a random trap's going to come through. So I'm preparing for a trap. I'm actually taking a little bit of profits on some of my leverage trades. I want to show you guys in the show. And I'm preparing for a 15% dip at any point. Now, the next dip is going to trigger the real altcoin pump. We are not far from all-time highs with some tokens, right? Some have to catch up. Now, in this next dip off, you're going to ignite the catch-up tokens. Not only that, you're going to have the big tokens start approaching the very big levels. And this is when true alt season and massive FOMO hits the markets. So not only do I see this as be careful that this trap's going to income, okay, and I'm learning to take some sort of profits before the traps come in, right? It's a big opportunity for you to actually have some money to buy. Now, if you're 100% in the market right now, this is a great show to watch today because I'm at that point, right? However, I want cash for the next step. I want to be able to buy the next tokens that are going to break out, and I want to get myself into these habits. So I want to speak about the first major trap. It's going to get you in good routine for the bigger trap that comes when we are in alt season. Okay, the one that's a 30% dip that comes out of nowhere. But these things can be damaging, and it can take profits away from you if you are not aware of them. And I do think it's coming pretty soon. And then I do think the biggest leg to the upside on altcoins we've ever seen will begin. So guys, happy Friday to you all. Again, I'm here to bring you best entries in the market, but also tell you when the market's a little bit overheated and get ready for better entries. No more wasting time. Let's go.
I try and help everyone in my space, and this is what I get. I try and fight the devils, but inside I'm just like Sniper. Welcome to Sheldon Show.
So fam, like it up if you're having a great time. You're starting to see your portfolio start to recover, right? Now, we have not even had the real, or let's say the rest of the altcoins explode. We've seen a nice move, right? This is great. Okay, but there's a certain phase where the rest of them get released. But there is a trigger that releases these phases. So we've spoken about this many times, and we're going to use it throughout the entire market here. We're in the phase of releasing ETH and some of the large caps. However, some of the large caps still have to pump, right? Solana, example. And then this category needs to pump too. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but before we started this pump, we had a shakeout, right? We had a shakeout. Bitcoin actually went back down close to the sub 100. Okay, and then we went parabolic. Now, what that did is that's what triggered, okay, the XRP to run, the ETH to run, right? These dips that come, these shakeout dips that come, actually trigger the next set of altcoins. And that's what we got to get prepared for, right? We got to realize over here, if we go look at a couple high time frames here, okay, there's going to be an alt season trigger. Because if you look at this phase where we were previously over here, we're approaching all-time highs, guys. True alt season is about to begin. Right? For those who all doubted, those who this, it's about to begin. Phenomenal, right? Look at that. We are so close to all-time highs now. Okay, and from here, things go parabolic. Parabolic season happens. And I also told you all, goodbye to the sleep nights, right? Goodbye to all of this. Dedicate the next 6 months. It can be life-changing, right? It's worth it when this market is doing this now. You've gotten through so much. This is where you really just lock off whatever you can. Go silent to the world. Okay, and just focus on being financially free, right? Super, super, super important. But we're about to go into this mega trigger season. Now, again, if we zoom out and we look at a couple plays here, we haven't even begun with a bunch of altcoins. This is why I want us to prepare for the shakeout now, because these alts, I believe, is going to be released. Okay, your dojos, your nears, your everything is about to get released, and there is literally gains, and I want to show you guys, of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of percent. Okay, but there needs to be a trigger for these things to go. They are all sitting at resistances now, and they're not making these big, massive candles just yet. Dominance is starting to collapse. Okay, and I'm seeing a retest and the trigger to come into play over here. So again, all of these alts over here, time is getting limited. Okay, some of them have had a 50% pump, and that's why I think the next step is vital. okay, to pay attention to, but it's going to release the rest of the market. You get these triggers that happen, and it starts off with the dump. Okay, a dump, a quick shakeout is what triggers a massive buy, right? If you look at Bitcoin over here, what created this run? This trigger over here, the drop trigger, boom, and we ended up exploding, right? If you look at what happened to ETH there, look at that trigger, explosion to the upside, right? You can see all alts had that trigger and they're all starting to explode, but they have not all been released yet. And I want to show you guys how this all works. So the first thing I want to show you guys is weekly is looking great, okay? And weeklies on these alts over here, especially ones that broke the trends. There might be a small retest opportunity, okay? Just know that if your altcoin's breaking trend, it's getting ready to really start making the moves. Where it goes parabolic is when it breaks the major resistances. So you know the previous highs that we made weeks back, right? Think about end of 2024. We made the highs. Alts will slowly grind up there. When they get through that phase, though, they will go into parabolic season, right? They'll go into the major move. So our goal here is to collect this in this area over here. If you did not get the initial breakout, okay, and get ready for the real pop. Remember what I explained this. You need to understand that every altcoin is going to be in a phase. Realize where you are buying this altcoin in the phase. Zoom out to the highest time frame you get, right? Weekly, monthly, and realize that there are phases here. The bottom phase is A phase. The next phase to all-time highs is B phase. Then the phase that goes into all-time highs is C phase, and the blow of top is D phase. Right? Now, another thing that's also important that I explained to you guys, I don't believe every altcoin is going to get to D phase. I believe the blue chips in categories are going to get to D phase, right? However, I think the rest of the altcoins can easily get to C phase, B and C phase. So it gives you an understanding here. If you look at Cardano's example, there's a good 200-300% coming. This might be a token that does go. It's a blue chip, right? It's been around for a while and these type of things. But understand where you're buying these tokens. If you look at XRP, what's XRP? XRP is in C phase, guys, right? You had the chance for A phase. You had the chance for B phase, right? Now it is in C phase. So today the goal is to go look at what is quality in A and B phase. That's what you're looking to accumulate, right? Is these an understanding that when these tokens reach the next phase, they are going to speed up ridiculously. So here is Superfarm in A phase. When it starts to enter B phase, it's going to fly to 2.5, right? Then we go into C phase, then we go into D phase, right? It gives you a nice look at that on 𝗟𝗏. It gives you a really good understanding of where the money is going to be moved next, right? Super important. So keep that in mind over there. And the next thing to show you guys, it looks like we are getting a really good correction for Bitcoin dominance for Altseason. What I do think, however, is going to happen is there's going to be a quick little trap, and I don't want you to get caught by the trap, and that's why I want you to be alerted by this trap. And then I think we're going into full-blown Altseason, and I think we have 6 months to enjoy the time of our lives, right? And to make sure we bank a bunch of money together. Okay, so again, let's jump in and let me show you guys what I see happening. So guys, my problem is Bitcoin is not bullish. This is my problem why I see a trap incoming. Money is getting distributed very quickly out of Bitcoin dominance, and your altcoins are showing strength. However, Bitcoin is slowing down. And what it's doing for me is giving me an indication that there is a shake. Now, remember I told you guys that when Bitcoin has its pump, it's going to hit a certain point, and it's going to have a shakeout. And that shakeout is going to trigger Altseason. Because right now, you're getting a spark from altcoins, but you'll see the real spark when it happens, right? The real run where these things start to move. And that's why I think after this shakeout, I literally see 5 to 10 times more people coming to crypto. I see the amount of everything exploding highly quick. That's why it's important for us to pay attention where we're at right now. Here's the play for me, okay? At any point, I think Bitcoin, this is as it stands right now. If it decides to go sideways, okay, and we'll see on Monday and there's a bull flag, then things will change. But the concerns here, right? RSI, daily, crossing now to the bottom over here. This is usually when it starts to speed up, but RSIs are sitting at the top on the daily on a lot of altcoins, guys. Look at ETH, right? Just look at the alts and just see that the daily stocks are at the top and they're starting to sit at the top for a little bit. So that means, hey, get ready for a shakeout, right? The next thing to see here as well is Bitcoin support is sitting down at 12 to 14,000. Now, because in this pump we unleashed the altcoins, it means your altcoins are going to pump harder to the upside, but they are going to drop harder when things come down. So what I'm seeing at any point now, this is my scenario that I'm playing out for now, is a drop off over here to this area. Now, when you see a percentage drop like this, right? Let's work out a 6 to 7, 8% drop in Bitcoin. This can easily equivalent to a 10, 15, sometimes a 20% drop in your altcoins. Usually happens pretty quick, catches the market off of guard, takes a bunch of liquidity, then it has a short-term bounce, second bounce, and then goes, right? So you see this thing called a double bottom now, or a W pattern. Now, why so? Is because when this drop happens here, the RSI will start coming down, but it won't be at the bottom yet. So when this bounce comes, the first bounce is a little fake one, then there's a retest, and then we go. And that gives enough time for the RSI to get down to the bottom, get reset, and get ready to go for a whole nother leg, right? Then after that, I see Bitcoin hunting down the $150,000 to $180,000 mark. But this time, it's coming with its entire crew of altcoins. Okay, this for me will ignite. So again, the dip over here. Now let's quickly speak about this. Is this any reason to sell my long-term bags? No. Is it any reason to sell good spot entries? No. But is there any good, important trades that I have grown some money that would be valuable that I could restart some trades on a pullback with bigger position sizes this time, right? And is there a cash portfolio? Are you guys keeping any cash? Because if you're not keeping any cash when this market is going to have double-digit red days at any point, that's crazy because you can use this time to buy stuff. If you're just all in, you're kind of defeating the purpose of understanding what you're supposed to be doing here. You're a money manager, right? You're someone that is looking after cash. So therefore, for me, for example, I took a bunch of leverage positions, got this account from 20 to 100K, okay, over here. And I'm going to slowly, I just want to show you guys over here. I'm going to slowly just start exiting a few of the positions, right? And start closing out some of the positions. So let's see over here. I'm closing a bit of my ETH. Okay, let's see. It might have closed it. Let's see. Okay, let me just, there we go. Okay, so yes, I've now closed some of my ETH. I'm going to close a little bit of my Solana. So let's see how many souls I have there. I'm going to close out 50% of my Solana. Okay, it looks like it's actually closing all full here. I'm going to close link, close this. Now, again, am I closing anything crazy? No, I have just tripled to quadrupled my money. RSI is sitting at the top. I'm going to wait for the next flush out, right? So again, I'm sitting on some, this is trading portfolios, guys. This is stuff where I want to grow money. In order to do that, I have to get a good trade, take some profits, wait for the opportunity, and go again, keep moving, right? My spot and long-term stay for the whole cycle. That I'm not touching until we go full-blown. So I'm keeping you guys in mind over here. Now, the next thing I want to excite you for is in this next dip off, I'm going to be opening trades on BTCC, WEX, Blofin, and Bybit. Right? Any of the exchanges you can get below, get your exchanges. I've gotten you the best deals with every single one of them. Okay, below in the description, you can find here. Make sure once you have signed up to one, you can go to a free entire school that is starting in literally 4 days. Okay, and get your accounts ready. There's training bonuses. There's many different discounts on fees, all things that matter when it comes to a trader. Right now, let's jump back in over here. So what do I see happening? I see a dip off happening here. What does this look like for altcoins? Something like this. Now, I do think alts can go a little bit higher than where they are now, okay? But I do see this trap coming at any point. Let's say alts want to go a bit higher and even go closer to this area here. I still see this trap incoming before we break the all-time highs, okay? Once we break the all-time highs, we need to have fuel. We cannot go into an all-time high territory with RSI sitting at the top. What we need to is we need to have an RSI at the bottom, starting to come up, and that's when we should be approaching the highs over there, because then we have strength to get through it. We don't want to just pop our heads through and have a massive trap after that. The bigger we go without a pullback, the bigger the trap, right? And remember, like I spoke, the first trap that I see is going to be now between 10-15%, maybe a little bit bigger on a wick, okay? The second trap's going to be a 30%, okay? And the last trap's going to be the top, right? These type of things. So what does this look like on your altcoins? Let's show you guys this over here. This is what I see happening at any point. And it's the plan for now, right? But this, ETH may push a bit higher now to 3.8, 3.9, and then I see a dip off to 3.3, then a shift and a move. Now, remember, we called this and we had it perfectly in November, December, but it did take some time. So let's see if it takes time. I don't think it will. I think full-blown alt season, everything happens quickly, but I do think a dip like this, it's coming at any point, drop off into the zone. It's around a 15 to 20% drop, and then we get going. I do see something like this in Solana. Sol drops back down to the late 160s, and then I see Solana chasing down $250, right? The next big leg in comes over here, right? Here is Cardano, At any point now, two scenarios, Cardano pumps more and then has the shake up to this level, okay? Or from here, we have the shake. Now, guys, the important thing from today's show is be happy with some profits that you make and put some money, take the money off the table, all right? At any point, a dip's going to happen. Then I'm going to be with you to work hard to get that dip, okay? And we're going to build again, right? So what am I doing? Freeing up cash that I've made now so I can go bigger in size on the next move. I now know the altcoins that have all broken weekly trends. I know what I want to buy and what I want to prepare to do. Remember, if your altcoin went up 300%, the pullback will be bigger versus an altcoin that went up 50%, right? Keep all of these things in mind. Guys, have an absolute fantastic weekend. I will see you guys. If the dip happens, I will be live this weekend. If not, I will see you guys on Monday and we'll catch the next major move. Make sure you sign up to school. Make sure you have your accounts ready. And guys, let's have a phenomenal cycle together. Love you guys a lot. See you all Monday. Bye-bye.